Well, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Surviving Fibromyalgia Diaries. I'm Zoe and started this channel back in March and I did an introduction video with all the best intentions and the world kind of went insane and I ended up being a homeschooling mum with not a moment to myself, not a moment's peace of having a very demanding but wonderful 5-year-old at home. And although that was quite a blessing, now she's back at school and doing really well. I think it's time for me to get back to doing what I was planning on doing. So my second video was going to be my testimony, but after many times of trying to record it, and I get quite emotional and it's quite a long story. In the end, I just wrote it all down in like a blog, which I'm posting. I'm going to post all my videos in a blog version on my Facebook page, which I will link down in the comments. So this is my next video and it's the top 5 surviving fibromyalgia kit. And this is the thing, so there are many tips and ideas you have for managing the illness, and I do have notes. I have written this down so I don't like lose my way, because I'll end up talking to you like for 3 hours about, I don't know, the weather or something and forgetting my own name with a vibro fog, so still get that. So it's just, so I will be referring back to my notes. So anyway, there are many tips and ideas on how to manage this illness, and it can become a minefield, especially when you're first diagnosed. And so I wanted to do this video like, what would happen if I could be like, if I could stop and say stuff to myself when I first found out I was diagnosed. You read on a lot of the groups, people are saying, oh, I've just been diagnosed, what would you tell me? And there's such, they get 400 comments and there's so much information. I just wanted to put something together that might help people. Now, the first port of call seems to be with this illness to just diagnose and give you loads of toxic medication. And I'm not saying that medication isn't something that we need to turn to. It's something I decided that I needed to come off. But everybody's different. But I think it should be the last port of call, not the first port of call. In a lot of cases, there should be other things that you can try, and some of the things in this top 5 are things that definitely you could try, and also you could try it with medication. They're not things that are going to counteract with medication, unless I get them to the vitamins and minerals, and then I would probably check with your doctor. But I'm not a doctor. This is, just my point of view of things that get me through, and they're mostly generic things that you can buy over the counter and are not things that are going to cause you any harm in any way. So, without further ado, number 5. And this is, I'm not going to show you the cover of it. By the way, I'm not endorsing any certain products. There's lots of different brands of things on the thing, and I am not affiliated with anybody. So, do your research, find what one you think works best for you. Number 5, Vicks Vapor Rub. This stuff, I love this stuff. I first discovered this when I was pregnant with my little girl, before I had fibromyalgia. I used to work long night shifts in the casino, standing up, and I used to come home and my legs would be killing me. I had pain going down my back. I was out here pregnant and I just was... And one night I grabbed the Vicks and I just rubbed it over my back and I rubbed it over my legs, and the relief was amazing. Then I completely forgot, after I was pregnant and I got fibromyalgia, just how great it was. Until one night I was just pacing the house and it got to the point where I had such bad restless legs. Restless legs is one of those things that you just get with fibromyalgia. It's down to your electrolytes being off. And there are many ways that you can do to help it, and I'm going to cover that a bit further on when we get to number 3. Or number 2, I think. But anyway, this stuff is absolutely brilliant. It's like the menthol is really, the smell is very calming, it's very soothing, it's very warming. It helps you calm you down. It's got a kind of sort of, we all know, I think most people have used a vapor rub in their life. This is Vicks, but you could get like one from Poundland. That's the dollar store for you Americans. So you can get this and you just rub it on, and it's just really helps. It's that instant relief, enough sometimes just to get you to bed, get you off to sleep, stop you raiding the cupboard trying to find that extra pill that you can take before it's the time to take another one. And I absolutely swear by it. When I was coming off all my meds and I didn't have the option, this became my lifesaver. Now, in the same category, still number 5, the other is when you move up, it gets a bit stronger. Good old Tiger Balm. Love a bit of Tiger Balm, actually. I love the smell of it. Let's have a smell. Oh, it's lovely. Just love the smell of this. This I use for this. I get pain in like my shoulder, right inside the bone. Nothing seems to get in there. I still get it now, and I get my neck just hurts quite a lot. In the evening, I just get a little, you only need a tiny amount, and I just rub it in. And it takes about 15 minutes before it starts to work. Make sure you wash your hands if you use this, because the last thing you need is Tiger Balm or Vicks in the eye. Seriously, believe me, I know. And especially if you've got children, you don't want to be touching them with this. Other thing, Baby Awesome, you've got like the baby one you can use if you've got small children. It does help as well. If you're worried about like you're going to cuddle a baby or something and you don't want to have something too strong on you, that will help. Anyway, back to Tiger Balm. Tiger Balm is like, it's very strong, but it takes about half an hour to work. It's a bit different to the Vapor Rub. It's, you know, it's a bit more hardcore. It could be, I moved up to it, put it that way. But it helps with headaches as well. You can put it on your temples. But it's just, I use it every night. I put it on I rub a little bit in my shoulders, a little bit in my neck, and it takes about half an hour before it starts to work. So, not half an hour. What it takes about 15 minutes before it starts to work. What are you talking about, Zoe? Half an hour. It takes about 15 minutes before it really starts to work. Gives you time to get into bed, get yourself comfy, and I lay down. I do it right before I'm going to sleep, not if I'm going to read a book, and I get in, and I use it on my lower back as well. I get like pain in my lower back, really rub it into that little bit of muscle where it is, where I get the sciatic nerve, and it just starts to warm up as you're falling asleep, and it always helps me fall off to sleep. Just as it's the duration of time you've got, the relief with it is enough for me to fall asleep. And it's definitely a swear-by thing. A lot of people say, I would much rather use this as something like deep heat on your muscles and that. But I wouldn't use it like massive amounts of it all over your legs. I would stick to something like the Vapor Rub. Or the other thing is, in the same category, number 5, is a peppermint foot spray. All over your legs and your feet. Don't worry about it, but don't go too high. Certain places you don't want it. And I wouldn't move it all over your body because it is being really cool. Now, peppermint foot spray, I wouldn't use peppermint foot spray during the winter. It's really, really cooling. It has a really cooling effect. Unless you get hot, if you get hot flushes like me, I don't feel the cold really badly, so I'm fine with it. But it is another thing that takes about 5 minutes to work, and it sort of soaks into your muscles and it gives you like this amazing relief. It's so good for the restless legs. Plus you don't have to put it on your hands. You can just spray it. It's got like a little pump. You just spray it on. I spray it all up my legs, spray it all over my feet, and then I get into bed. And the thing is, you can just use it again and again. So if you wake up in the night and you wake up and you're thinking, oh, bloody legs are killing me, not again. Just spray it on and it's enough to help you get off to sleep. Getting us off to sleep is one of the most important things. This one, and you can use it during the day as well, but I use this one mostly during the night. But these ones, I use this all the time. I have it in my handbag and I just stick it on whenever it's hurting. So there you go. That's our number 5. Time to move on to number 4. Okay, number 4. Essential oils. Now, essential oils are amazing, and I've just done a course on them, so I'm a complete fanatic. And it's going to be many videos on their own because there are so many different ones and so many different uses. But just to start with, I'm going to use 3 of the basics so you can get to know it. Number 1, and I'm not endorsing any makes, but I would say get a good make of these 3 especially. And, you know, look out there again, search which ones are good. But number 1 is lavender. Lavender, I love it. I absolutely love lavender. I'm going to read to you what I wrote about lavender because I just want to get it right, and I just keep forgetting stuff because I've got fibromyalgia. Anyway, it's the most known and it's the most used, and it's for good reason. It's amazing, it's versatile essential oil, and it's one of the only ones you can use directly on the skin. So you can just drop it in the bath, which is so helpful. You don't have to mix it yourself. If you need to relax, or you can put a couple of tiny drops on your temple, wear it as perfume if you want straight away. I do recommend diluting it, make it go further, but if you're in a hurry you can use it like that. If you've got a headache, just rub it on your temples. It is so relaxing, it's safe, it's antiviral, it's antibacterial, and it's an insect repellent. And it's also uplifting, even though it's incredibly relaxing. It's meant to help people with mental states and depression, and it's a great long-term thing. I use it in my daughter's room as a diffuser. I use it every night, and I use it in hers and my bath, and I use it as a massage oil. Just add a bit to water in a spray bottle, and you can use it in the room to get rid of bugs, or use it as a room spray just to freshen up the room. And especially in that time bugs are out, it helps ease away stress and negativity, and it can help you sleep, because one of the main problems of fibromyalgia is the lack of sleep. It starts a knock-on effect till you can barely function. Sleep is essential, and it's so surprising how well you sleep once you have a diffuser in the room. I absolutely swear by them. I have a diffuser. Once you have one, that's it. You'll be, how did I never have one of these before? And once you start using just these 3 oils that I'm telling you about, you will be sold, and you will start investigating yourself and looking into new ones. In the room themselves, water run out, sorry, just checking my notes, and they go for hours. They go for hours. I've got one here just to show you. It's not even really a great one to show you. The best one's in my daughter's bedroom. She's nicked it. She's only 5, and she's got the best one in the house in her room. Anyway, so once you have one, you'll swear by it. So the next one is peppermint. I buy this in massive bottles. I've got one really expensive one that I use because I actually use it to flavour things as well, but that's a whole different kettle of fish, and I'm not telling you to do that at all. But this is just one that I buy. I get this one off Amazon actually. I really like it. It's a really good one because I make cleaner with it, and I use it in my cleaners. I make all my own cleaners. I don't use anything with chemicals. But once again, that's another video. So peppermint, I use this, like I say, by the bucket load, and I have one cheap one and I have one expensive one because I can use it for so many different things. Peppermint is a great painkiller. It's fresh and clean smelling, it's uplifting, and it is also antiviral, antifungal, insect repellent. And it's like Vicks, like the Vapor Rub. It has a warming but cooling feeling on your skin depending on how it's applied. Dilute in a few drops of oil of like any of your favourite carrier oils. You can rub it on all the painful areas, and in this way it's a gentle cooling way. So if you want to rub it in with like grapeseed oil or olive oil or something like that, you're going to find it's very gentle. You don't get a really harsh effect with it. My mum buys me like these little pots, and I just do, they're probably about a teaspoonful, and I put about 5 drops in there, and then I use that. I've got one that I use, like, I just massage it in when my muscles hurt and stuff. And now I've started exercising, I find that really helps. And it's a much more gentle version than using something like the peppermint foot spray. Plus you can also ad-lib and make your own, but if you have to be very careful. So you could dilute it and then mix it in with water. And once it's something about peppermint with water, then you have to be careful. It's very fast working. I'll find out where I am on my sheet now. Oh, well, if you add it to the bath, it says, yep, dilute it. Always make sure you dilute this. It's not like lavender. You must dilute it before you put it straight on your skin, or you could get a burning effect. So you want to use less is more in this sense, and it's not one that I would consider absolutely safe. Really cold. Cool in summer day, just cool down. It's also for the diffusing in the daytime. It's very energising, and it will help you wake up, freshen your house, and it will help you in your general well-being, especially when diffused with the next oil, orange. Love it. I just love orange. Orange is amazing. I wear it as perfume. And again, it is also, I think all essential oils actually are, antiviral, antifungal. I mean, you can make your own, like, you wanted to put, these two go together so well, orange and peppermint. You mix them together. I put them in my cleaner, I put them in like diffusers, I put them in a room spray, I spray it around the edges of the rooms to get rid of the bugs. Absolutely brilliant. Both are uplifting, but this I just put straight on. Now I've got another thing here that I wear. It's like a necklace, and it's got like a little, I don't know if you can see actually because I've got it on here. They have like, you get them off eBay. They're like about £3. You can get like love heart shapes and all kinds of ones. You get like a little bag of these felts inside them. Once again, they tell you on the thing to do it like just put a couple of drops of the oil straight onto it and then wear it. It smells amazing. And then you've got the scent all day and you haven't got to wear it on your skin, but I still dilute it. I do dilute it because the one you get, it comes on like a really long chain, and I like this on a shorter chain. I just like having it there, and I think with so many viruses and things around now, having that constant antiviral thing around you is just an extra protection as well. And the smell is so uplifting. The worst thing for me with fibromyalgia is the fatigue. The fatigue has been my battle to get rid of, and touch wood, I don't get it as often as I did, but I had points in my life where I couldn't get out of a chair because I felt like I had somebody sitting on my shoulders holding me there with just no energy. And you can't explain it to somebody who's not had that. People go, oh yes, I've had a hard day, I'm a bit tired. No, you have no idea. You have no idea what it's like to feel like you want to get up from the chair and it feel like somebody's pushing you back down, where your body is literally fighting you. So everything I've looked for is things that uplift me, help give you energy. Now you're not going to sniff a bit of orange and think, oh wow, I can run a marathon, I feel fantastic. It's not going to work like that. But start diffusing it in your house if you have. Get yourself a little necklace. Like I say, I've got my own mix of this that I use as a perfume. You can get little roll-ons that you do, and I roll it on my wrist when it's wearing off, and I've always got it, and I sniff it, and it just helps me. These things are very subtle, but they really do help you generally in the day, and orange is one. Some people would argue that about lemon, but orange is my favourite if I was going to pick one uplifting. But once again, it's down to preference, where you might go for lemon. Like some people like the really posh oils, which I do love, but I'm not endorsing them. A doTERRA, and you can get little kits from them with the starter kits, and their one is lemon that they choose. But personally, if I would do it, I would do orange. So orange is definitely my one. So they are the top 3 on the list that I would have that would help. Everybody should have this in their kit at home. So there we go. That's concluding number 4. So let's move on to number 3 on the list. Okay, number 3. Number 3, Epsom salts. Come on, girls. All of you hardcore fibro girls are knowing what I'm saying. You're feeling what I'm saying. Epsom salts. I can't believe I suffered for 3 years before I discovered this. Now, when we get on to number 2, we're going to be talking about vitamins and minerals. But we're going to cover it a little bit here. One of the main things that we seem to all be deficient in is magnesium. And there are many ways that you can have magnesium. Magnesium, you can take it orally or you can use it transdermally. But one of the best ways is in the bath. Now I've got this, once again, just generic bag. I got mine from a place in the UK called Home Bargains. It's so cheap. This bag was £1.33 and I can get about 3 baths out of it if I'm being frivolous, 2 if I'm a bit achy. I get through tons of this stuff. I will not, there's no point me having a bath without it. A couple of drops of lavender, a couple of Epsom salts. And the other is, if I'm having a really bad day, I'm really hurting, I'm suffering from the electric bed, I use Magnesium Flakes. Love the Magnesium Flakes. They are so awesome. Plus I use the Magnesium Flakes. I don't have them in very often and they're a bit more expensive. And you really only need a handful. But you can also make your own magnesium cream, which I will do in a later video because I make my own and it's amazing. And that would be going into number 5 with the vapor rub and stuff that you can rub on yourself to help. Thing is, you can buy like a magnesium spray. If you're not somebody that likes to bath, you can buy a magnesium spray, but it tends to burn. And the reason is, catch-22, if you need magnesium, it burns when you put it on. If you put it on and it doesn't burn, then you don't need it. What's that all about? So sometimes it's better to just have it in the bath. Doesn't burn in the bath, it's well diluted. And it's just amazing. Part of my routine every night is I have to have my bath with my Epsom salts. If I run out, there's no point for me. It's just not the same. I have to have my bath. This is a must-have if you suffer from this. If you can't bath, like I said, you can get magnesium sprays that will help get the magnesium into you. Spray it onto your legs, put it onto your wrists, or if not, get a foot bath. If you've got somebody with you who you can buy a bag of this for you and make you up a foot bath and help you with that and just soak your feet in it. Best way to get things into your body is through your feet. So, quick one, this one, but don't go without it. Definitely Magnesium Flakes and Epsom salts by the bucket load. Oh, I nearly died on lockdown when I couldn't get to Home Bargains and buy it because I go my dad takes me weekly and I buy it weekly. So I started buying it. You can buy it though off eBay, and I was buying it in 10 kilo bags for the month to keep me going because I don't think I would have survived without it. So anyway, there you go. That's our number 3. Now moving on to number 2. Right, number 2 on my must-have list. And now this is really getting quite serious. So I'm going to think, once again, I'm not advising anyone to take anything, and please check with your doctor if you're worried about this. But this is the vitamins and minerals, and I put a few things in this thing, and I take all of these. And I wish somebody had told me right at the beginning to take all of these. Now, in America, I talk to people in America, and quite a lot of them say, oh, that their doctors, I think, have told them, or they're very low in certain ones of these, and they've tried them. I know that I didn't have anybody tell me that I was. I just, through research, decided that these were the things I was going to try. And now I swear by them. In fact, I run out of one of them, and I'll mention that again. That's, I'm going to say number 2 on that, magnesium. I run out of that. And I didn't have it for a week, and I felt the difference. I really felt the difference. So moving on, number 2 is vitamins and minerals. Now, I think the whole human race is deficient in vitamins and minerals, and especially these few vital ones. Due to poor farming standards, the way we treat our animals, GMO foods, bad air, bad quality of life, just bad products on the shelf. We're just not getting the nutrients. Watched a video once, I'd like to quote who it was, but I can't remember, who said the human race is the most overfed and undernourished it has ever been. And this is something we really need to think. I think people with fibromyalgia, and I will cover how I treated myself and how I looked into what was wrong with me and how I decided to treat myself in another video, because this is supposed to be a quick top 5 survival, but we can't talk about being serious. And something in the bodies, I'm sure, of people with fibromyalgia is we're just not absorbing the nutrients we need. We're just not getting them how we should do. So now I'm going to do it. And number 1 in this subcategory is vitamin D. And I'm going to read this because I have sourced all this material, and I will link all my sources to this. Now, before I cover this again, I'm going to quickly say that I was shocked when I saw this. I was shocked at how much the deficiency in these vitamins are, even though I've been taking them all this time, are so similar to the symptoms. And if it's not entirely the cause, I can pretty much be sure that taking these vitamins and minerals are going to help alleviate some of your symptoms and help you manage. I'm not offering you a cure here, believe me. My shoulder's still aching right now as I'm sitting here. But I'm not offering you a cure here. So I'm going to read this as well. Like I say, this is important and I don't want to get it wrong. So, vitamin D. Number one, vitamin D. I have read so many people on so many groups say, I'm so deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D is an essential vitamin for your body and has powerful effects on several systems of your body, and it acts like a hormone. And your body makes it from the sun or certain foods like fish and dairy, but it's very difficult to get it from food alone. It's estimated that over 1 billion people worldwide are deficient. And here are some of the symptoms related to the lack of vitamin D. 1. Vitamin D supports your immune system. I think that's something we all need supporting right now. It interacts with your cells to fight off infection, and you are more prone to colds, flus and bronchitis if you are low on vitamin D. Number 2, sound familiar? Fatigue and tiredness. Number 3, bone and back pain as well as fragile bones. Now, if you go back and you read my testimony on my Facebook page, you'll realise fragile bones was one of the things that I had. A couple of nasty breaks that would not heal. Vitamin D maintains bone health and also improves your body's absorption to calcium and magnesium. Most people who are vitamin D deficient are also calcium and magnesium deficient. It leads to depression. Number 4 was depression. Number 5, hair loss. This can be a good indicator that you're deficient in vitamin D. Now, how many of you who are on Facebook groups, if it's not happening to you, I know when I was first diagnosed, my hair used to come out in clumps. Number 6, muscle pain. In a study of 71% of people with chronic pain, they were found to be deficient of vitamin D. There are 2 kinds of vitamin D on the market, vitamin D2 and vitamin D3. While both will help meet your requirements, vitamin D3 is usually preferred choice, and it has been shown that it has much better absorption. I use vitamin D3, I prefer it. I did use the other one for a while, but I've got to say, I definitely think vitamin D3 is. Right, the next one, magnesium. Already mentioned in number 3 with the Epsom salts. I use both ways. I take the supplements and I use it in the bath, and I also make my own cream with it. Oh, I just don't seem to be able to get enough of it. I'm always vitamin D deficient. I take all of the supplements I need, but I seem to constantly need more. I need to constantly keep topping it up. I don't even know why that is, but I know when I haven't got it. Most of the time, a person is in vitamin D. They are also deficient in magnesium, but there's some good news. Chocolate is really high in magnesium. I'm not talking Cadbury's, I'm talking get yourself a nice bar of 80% if you can handle it. I love it, 90% I have it. And I don't have sugar, so I have to have the 90%, but I love it. So a good bar of dark chocolate or cacao powder. Use a cacao powder and put it in smoothies. It's always a really good option. Now let's look at some of the symptoms of magnesium deficiency, and we may start to see a pattern forming. Muscle twitches and cramps are one of the most common signs, especially restless legs, which can sometimes be incredibly painful. So you need to treat it from both angles. If you're getting the restless legs, don't just rub stuff in and try and use creams and stuff. Get a good vitamin D, a good magnesium supplement. Everybody with fibro should be taking these, as far as I'm concerned, my personal opinion. Number 2, mental disorders, including depression and anxiety. Anybody? 3, fatigue and muscle weakness. 4, high blood pressure. There are a few different kinds of magnesium, and it's good to get the right one for you. And a mix here or a mix. Now, I'm going to say that, but I put that on my list, and I've got the list here of like the different kinds, and I've tried a few expensive ones in the mix, but I've got to tell you, I just use a generic magnesium brand. I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I don't want anyone taking what I do. Just going to see. Magnesium oxide apparently is in it, and magnesium malate. Anyway, there are a few different kinds of magnesium, so it's good to try the right one. So number 1 is chloride, and that one is for detoxing, metabolism and kidney function. Number 2 is glycerite, not great at reading that word, for relaxing. It's good absorption rate and it helps with a leaky gut and nerve pain. Definitely one that we should be having. 3 is malate, and this is the one that's most widely used for fibromyalgia and muscle pain. It's good, it's meant to help give you energy. Oxide is good in small doses throughout the day. 5, sulfate, small oral doses, and is best in bath. So I'm presuming the magnesium flakes that I've got are oxate, I think they are. Sulfate, small oral doses, best in bath, sulfate. Taurate and orotate, good for cardiovascular health. And theanine, which is good for brain injuries, PTSD, depression, neurocondition and anxiety. If you would like a list of these, I will be putting a thing up on my Facebook page, which you can actually just Photoshop and keep for yourself so you can work it out and then look and decide. Like I say, shop around. I'm not going to advise you which one to take, or maybe ask your GP or your doctor. Right, the next one's vitamin C. Good old vitamin C. How many of us doing this? People might turn around and say, oh, do you know what? I have loads of oranges, I'm fine. Well, do you actually know how much vitamin C is left inside of an orange due to huge amounts of farming? Most oranges tested have been found to find 0 vitamin C or 1% vitamin C, like compared to something like 20% in the 80s or something, but don't quote me on it. So vitamin C plays a key role. Now, a key role in producing in the production of a protein that is needed for skin, hair, joints, bones, blood vessels, leading to. So a lack of vitamin C will lead to rough and bumpy skin, easy bruising, slow healing of wounds, believe me, that's one for mine, painful swollen joints, bleeding gums and tooth loss, poor immunity, anemia, fatigue and poor mood, unexplained weight gain, and chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. Now, vitamin C is quite a hard one because you have to be very careful when you get vitamin C. I actually have none to show you, and I take an Amla powder. Organic Amla powder is what I use, and I literally only need 1/4 teaspoon of it. When I first started to take it, it like made me detox immensely, and now I worked up to about 1/2 teaspoon. Or I use a rosehip powder. I like a natural organic rosehip powder. You have to be very careful when you get like the tablets over the counter, and especially the ones that you put in a drink and dissolve, because they contain lots of horrible sugars, fake sugars, and are really bad for you, which I will cover in another video. So try and get something organic for sure, and maybe a powder which you can do your own dosage and work up with, so you can have only a tiny amount to start with. Also, be careful with the ones that come from corn. They make vitamin C from a corn starch, I think, and corn is so highly GMO. You have to make sure it's organic. So definitely shop around and see what you can get then, but have a look at Amla powder because that's great. So the last one, and probably my most important, vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is an essential vitamin that you can get from fish, dairy, eggs and poultry. It's widely common in the elderly and in vegans, I'm afraid, sorry vegans, to be deficient in B12. And it's an essential role in producing red blood cells and DNA, as well as a proper function of your nervous system. Vitamin B12 deficiency can take years to show up and is often mistaken for a folate deficiency. Due to this, it can take a long time to repair the damage with supplements, so you need to be patient. In fact, I'm going to say you need to be patient with all of these things. These things are not a tablet that you get from a doctor. You're not going to take it for like 2 days and be running around the park. You're going to have to get things like vitamins and minerals at a time. Your body will take what it needs and it will build up what it needs. Most of the things I've taken that I take now, I didn't really see the effects of them till really to sit back and appreciate them till it was about 6 months, I have to say, from starting to take most of the things and adding things. Definitely the B12 I didn't notice straight away. Now sometimes if it really shows up that you're deficient in B12, you can get an injection. I've heard that's great, but I've got no idea, and I've only really heard from a lot of Americans who have managed to get it, so that's the case. So anyway, what are the symptoms of being deficient in vitamin T? Pale and jaundiced skin, weakness and fatigue, pins and needles, good old pins and needles. Who haven't had that when fibromyalgia? The serious side effect of long-term vitamin B12 deficiency is nerve damage. A telltale symptom of this is pins and needles. Does that sound familiar? Change of mobility. If untreated, the damage of your nervous system can cause changes of the way that you walk and you move. Mouth ulcers, breathlessness and dizziness. This is associated with anemia due to the lack of red blood cells and your body needs to provide enough oxygen in your cells. So there you go. That is your vitamins and minerals. Now, like I say, take heed. I am going to please read all of the links that I will post, and most of them I got off thehealthline.com. I wanted to make sure I got them off something that was a reliable source and I wasn't just making this stuff up myself. If you can see that this is really highly important, that if our vitamins and minerals are off, then everything is off, and our body can't heal itself at all or come back from anything without that. So please look at that seriously. So that's the end of number 2. Now to move on to number 1. Okay, here we are, number 1, my number 1 choice on how to survive in the fibromyalgia survival kit. And my number 1 choice is D-Ribose. Now, some people may have heard of D-Ribose, but I know a lot of people will say, what is D-Ribose? I had to pick D-Ribose as number 1 because D-Ribose literally saved my life. My fatigue is now nothing compared to what it used to be. It completely and utterly controlled my life before D-Ribose. Now it is manageable. Still have the odd day. I'm still knackered at 4 in the afternoon. By 4 I've had it, even though I've done all the housework. But I'm no longer just stuck in a chair, and I put it down to not only the vitamins and minerals I was taking, but my discovery of taking D-Ribose. So I hear you ask, what is D-Ribose? Well, D-Ribose is like a white powder. I'll show you it here. I've got it, I haven't got a packet for it. I keep it in a jar. I've got it like in a mason jar, and I love it. And you get like a little scoop with it, and it is literally a little white powder. So there's your D-Ribose. Put the lid on, keep it safe. So anyway, what is D-Ribose? Well, D-Ribose is a critically important sugar molecule, and it is part of your DNA, the genetic material that contains information for all the protein produced in your body. It also makes up part of your cell's primary energy source, ATP, and it repairs your RNA while fighting viruses. Your body naturally produces D-Ribose, and it's supplemented for the recovery from exercise and fibromyalgia pain and chronic fatigue syndrome. And it works by increasing recovery of energy stores in your cells. It can improve symptoms of certain pain disorders due to the association between some pain disorders and problems with energy metabolism. Studies have shown that D-Ribose can reduce pain. In one study on people with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome showed improvements of pain intensity, well-being, energy, mental clarity and sleep were recovered after receiving 15 grams of D-Ribose for 17 to 35 days, and it also can improve mental function. I can personally testify that D-Ribose is amazing and it helped me in my daily life. It was a gradual thing. And when I first started taking it, I didn't think it was working, but I carried on with it. And it was about 3 weeks on from starting it that I suddenly realised that I had more energy. I was getting up and I was doing more. Because, you know, when you have fibromyalgia, you sometimes get the day when you wake up and you feel okay. You know the day when you wake up and feel you're okay. And you get fibromania. And you start running around the house doing like loads of housework wherever you go, grabbing all that washing that you haven't had a chance to do, chucking it in the washing machine, polishing, or you have that day where you just go out and you go shopping, put some makeup on, and you're like, oh my goodness, where did this day come from? Why have I got so many spoons? And that's when you bump into everybody and they're all like, oh, don't you look well? Wouldn't think you were ill, would you? And you're like, no, I've just been in bed for 5 months. This is my first day of feeling okay. Well, with D-Ribose, I got that day. It was about 3 weeks into taking it that I got that day. And I ran around and I did all the housework and I got knackered at about 4 and I sat down and had a cup of tea and then I didn't feel too bad and I had my bath and my Epsom salts and my something and I sat in bed and I read and I got a good night's sleep. I had a good night's sleep and I woke up the next day and I had another day. And then I had another day and then I had another day and really it became part of my life. So how do I take it? You get like a little scoop. And when I first started taking it, I was taking 2 scoops a day and now I'm down to 1. And if I just like to reserve it, it costs about £10 for a bag. I think £8.99 I think is the bag I do, and I get it off eBay. So just look on eBay, you can get it all over eBay, good prices of it. And I started taking about 2 scoops every day, and then when I started feeling really good, I went down to 1, and now I take 1 a day. If I get that day where I wake up and I just think, oh, I feel like crap, I have 2, and they helps gets me through the day. And so that's pretty much it. So there you go. There you have my top 5 surviving fibromyalgia kit. I hope this helps somebody. I hope somebody out there takes a little bit of what I've taken 5 years to discover and uses it, and it helps you feel better. And that's all I want to try and do here. I'm going to be sharing loads of things with you because like I say, I've completely changed my life. And just putting these things into place and seeing what it is that I do that helps me manage this illness. So I just hope that God blesses you all with a pain-free day. And without further ado, that's me done. God bless.